Tenerife in the Canary Islands. The beaches here have long been a playground for Western tourists seeking a winter escape. Los Cristianos, the island's southern port. British tourists in particular have made this resort town their own. But a different kind of visitor has begun to arrive in Los Cristianos. Thousands of illegal migrants are flooding in from Africa to look for work. An armada of these tiny open boats is braving the 6-day ocean crossing from West Africa. Sometimes over 100 people are crammed into each one. On just this one day, 4 separate boats have turned up, and the foreign tourists here are clearly stunned.
Yeah, we saw them tow them in.
We saw them tow them in.
Yeah, were you a bit surprised to see them turn up during your holiday?
Yes, we were, yes, yeah. We really don't understand it all this. It shouldn't be done though, should it really?
Have you seen the size of the boat that they arrived in?
Yeah,
yes, we have, yes.
How many were there, do you know?
It's about 80 apparently.
80?
Yeah.
Oh, in the one boat? Yeah, we was on our balcony when we saw them come in.
Okay.
Yes. We looked through the binoculars.
Why do you think they've come? Why do you think they've...
They must think it's better here than it is where they've come from, I suppose.
These men have risked their lives to reach the Canary Islands because this is Spanish territory, the southernmost border of the European Union. The illegal migration route to Europe via Morocco and the Mediterranean is now heavily patrolled. But as one route is shut down, another opens up, and the 1,400-kilometre voyage from Senegal to the Canaries is now the favoured way to go. A Red Crescent official in West Africa has estimated that up to 40% of these boats don't make it, sinking without trace in the Atlantic swells. After the illegal migrants are taken to the harbour by the Spanish Coast Guard, they're treated by the Red Cross. Their boats are then emptied and eventually broken up as local residents look on.
Pero hay que tener valor para pasar una travesía de 11 días y 80 personas en un cayuco ese. Vienen a la desesperada.
Sí. Sí. Imagínense, y el mar abierto.
Cuando lo hacen.
Pobrecitos.
So far this year, over 25,000 illegal immigrants have arrived here, 5 times the total number for last year, and the local authorities have been stretched to breaking point. Salvador Mendez is the Harbour Master at Los Cristianos.
El total de inmigrantes es de aproximadamente 300 inmigrantes que han desembarcado a lo largo de esta mañana. Y hay activado un dispositivo de búsqueda importante porque hay indicios de que pueden haber algunos cayucos más próximos a las islas.
The Coast Guard and Red Cross are under great pressure, but the compassion they show the new arrivals is obvious. Many of these West African men are suffering from exposure and dehydration. And to the untrained eye, it appears that Thierry, a French-speaking Red Cross worker, is just horsing around with them, gaining their trust. But he's very cleverly picking out those who need further medical help. Those under 18 have their birth dates marked on a piece of tape around their arms. They're eventually separated from the other men. Under Spanish law, they're now wards of the state, and they can't be sent back home against their will. Oswaldo Lemus is the head of the Red Cross Emergency Response Team.
A lo largo del día, desde esta mañana hasta ahora, han llegado 293 inmigrantes, de los cuales 18 son posibles menores y 2 mujeres. Han habido varias atenciones por parte de médicos y enfermeros de Cruz Roja, por deshidratación, quemaduras, heridas graves.
While I'm in the Canary Islands, I'm not allowed to talk to the new arrivals or hear what they've been through. But Oswaldo has helped to unload close to 200 of these boats and knows exactly how they're feeling.
Pasaron mejor varios días en alta mar, sufriendo el frío, oleaje si hay, la oscuridad, el silencio. Una vez que llegan a tierra, pues lo han conseguido, han pasado el estrecho.
Under Spain's liberal immigration laws, the longest these men can be held is 40 days. If their nationality is established inside that time, they can be deported home. If not, and most migrants make sure they have no identification with them, they're then released into the community, usually on the Spanish mainland. After medical checks, these arrivals are bused to the local police station to be officially interviewed. According to Salvador Mendez, it's clear why they're risking their lives.
La razón por la que vienen es muy clara. La diferencia de nivel de vida entre los países africanos y Canarias y por tanto Europa es tan grande, hay tanta diferencia entre un sitio y otro que la gente busca rápidamente una válvula de salida para llegar a un sitio mejor, ¿no?
It's the next morning, and Red Cross workers have been tipped off that more boats are due.
When did you find out?
Esta mañana a las 5 de la mañana más o menos.
But this time, the illegal migrant boat sank before it could be towed in, and they've been rescued by the Coast Guard.
Bueno, la pasada noche, sobre las 3 de la madrugada aproximadamente, el barco de salvamento Punta Salinas rescató a un grupo de 97 inmigrantes y el cayuco, que estaba en muy malas condiciones, pues al poco rato de transportar a los inmigrantes al barco de salvamento, estaba haciendo agua y definitivamente se hundió.
According to Salvador, the current rate of arrivals is not sustainable.
La gente, los canarios estamos todos muy preocupados. Muy preocupados porque las islas son un territorio muy pequeñito, ¿eh? Es un territorio muy pequeño y no es fácil asumir miles y miles oleadas de inmigrantes que llegan a las islas. Y realmente la gente está francamente preocupada con el futuro, ¿no? Y además no se sabe cuál es el límite. Han llegado 25.000, ¿cuántos más van a llegar? ¿50, 100.000, 500.000? No sabemos.
While it's easy to see the illegal migrants arriving, it's far harder to see where they end up afterwards. This is the closest I could get with a camera to the police station in Los Cristianos. The cells are overflowing, and these large tents have been set up in the grounds outside. There are over 1,500 men crammed in here, and the police union has complained about overcrowding and health risks. After 3 days, illegal migrants are moved to detention camps that have been set up right across the Canaries. This one, high up on the neighbouring island of La Gomera, is in a disused restaurant, far from public view. And as the centres fill up, there's increasing pressure on Spain to toughen up its immigration laws. Jose Miguel Ruano is the Security and Justice Advisor to the Canary Islands regional government.
Creo que está causando problemas. Creo que en este momento, por lo menos desde el gobierno autónomo de Canarias, entendemos que se trata de una legislación permisiva y que determinados aspectos deben corregirse. Creemos que hay que extender el tiempo de retención de los inmigrantes para conseguir, cuando llegan por vía masiva, poder ser repatriados.
But according to Salvador Mendez, it's the conditions back in Senegal that are behind the current wave of illegal migration.
Ha partido de Senegal, y Senegal desde hace 2 años está sumido en una crisis económica gordísima. Senegal tenía una industria pesquera fuerte y que estaba más o menos bien gestionada, pero han caído muchísimos los precios y toda la costa, todo el sector pesquero de la costa senegalesa está sumido en una gran crisis.
These are the beaches at Dakar, the capital of Senegal. In the Canaries, the Spanish police wouldn't let me talk to the illegal immigrants I'd filmed arriving, so I've come here to find out for myself why and how people are making the trip. Much of the illegal traffic is run by local fishermen, and even though it's against the law, it's not hard to find someone to explain how it works. Pape, a boat owner and fisherman, is happy to oblige.
Les gens qui veulent voyager, je leur donne mon numéro de téléphone, eux ils me donnent leur numéro de téléphone. Vous comprenez? Bon, si on réunit, bon, par exemple, un nombre de... Bon, l'équipage que la pirogue peut prendre, vous comprenez? Bon, par exemple, un nombre de 100 personnes, vous comprenez? Bon, on se donne rendez-vous dans un lieu, là on s'embarque pour commander, c'est simple.
Departures from Senegal have become so frequent that it's become a hub for migrants right across West and Central Africa. Many have never even seen the ocean before and don't understand the risks.
Mais ceux qui viennent de la brousse, bon, eux, bon, pratiquement, il y a beaucoup de morts, mais généralement, ceux qui sont morts, bon, c'est des gens qui ont fait leur premier voyage en mer.
Along with Claire Suarez, who's translating for me, I meet Alkally Sarr. His house is just behind the beach, and he made the trip to the Canaries and was deported back here just last week.
J'ai tout loupé. J'ai honte devant ma famille. Tu sais, ce que je ressens ici, là, c'est plus fort que moi. J'ai honte devant ma famille, devant mon père. Mon père, c'est un homme âgé. Ma mère, c'est une femme très brave, très courageuse. Il vend tout pour faire vivre sa famille. C'est pour ça que je voulais partir en Espagne.
Et votre mère, elle a vendu tous ses biens?
Oui.
Comme quoi? Quel genre de choses?
Des bijoux, tout ça. Avec ce que j'avais et mon père, on a tout rassemblé.
Et pourquoi vos parents ont donné la bénédiction? Est-ce qu'ils voient toi comme une manière d'avoir un avenir ou...
Oui. Parce qu'ici au Sénégal, il n'y a pas d'avenir pour les jeunes. C'est pour ça. Il n'y a pas d'avenir pour les jeunes. Tous les jeunes n'ont pas du travail. C'est pour ça.
All along the coast of Senegal, the impact of migration has been massive. Whether illegal migrants survive the trip or not, their loss is felt by those left behind. Sayou Nadai, a local fisherman, is concerned for the future of his community.
L'immigration, ça touche le village très fortement d'ailleurs, parce que vraiment nous avons perdu nos enfants, plus de 100 et quelques personnes, nous avons perdu nos enfants, nos frères, bon, même des sœurs, on perdu nos sœurs. C'est parce que le village est très dur, le Sénégal même est très dur, parce qu'il n'y a pas de travail.
Sayou's own brother left for the Canary Islands, but died on the voyage.
Il est parti clandestinement dans les pirogues. Bon, après, il est resté dans la mer. Il a trouvé la mort dans la mer.
Et comment vous savez ça? Comment vous savez ça?
Les autres qui partent, on nous a appelés pour dire ça.
Et qu'est-ce que les autres passagers ont fait avec votre frère? C'est les passagers qui ont jeté dans l'eau ou...
Ils sont jetés dans l'eau. Si tu mords, on le jette dans l'eau et continue leur parcours.
The high death rate from the voyage to Spain has become part of popular culture in Senegal. This mural is in downtown Dakar, just next to the university. It means Barcelona or the afterlife. Bemba Toure, who painted the mural, explains his work.
Bon, là, c'est Barcelone, où les gens veulent réussir. Bon, ils veulent coûte y aller. Là, c'est avec les moyens qu'ils utilisent. Les pirogues, tu vois. La teki veut dire réussir. Il y a teki, il y a le point d'interrogation. Le point d'interrogation, c'est-à-dire là, on se pose la question. Si une fois arrivé à Barcelone, ils vont réussir ou pas? Là. Barsac, c'est l'autre bout du monde.
L'autre bout du monde. Et ici, on a les...
Voilà, il y a d'autres qui n'ont pas réussi. Ils n'ont pas réussi. Là, ce sont les corps, les cadavres. Tu vois, celui-là, il est prêt à se noyer. Ouais. Là, c'est encore, il est fini.
Awadi is one of the most popular hip-hop musicians and record producers in Senegal. His latest single is all about the plague of illegal migration.
I recorded the song Senegal because there was a big crisis, all these kids running away from the country in little boats. It's really dangerous.
Why are they going? What is the point? Why are they leaving Senegal?
They live in Senegal because they are disappointed. There was a lot of promises, but none of them are fulfilled.
Promises about what?
Promises about job, about better conditions, employment, better living conditions, basically.
Almost everyone we spoke to in these coastal villages near Dakar had a story about missing boats, drownings and deaths from dehydration. But it doesn't seem to stop the demand for places on the boats.
Au départ, il y a deux pirogues. Parce qu'on nous informe qu'ils ont 120 personnes.
D'accord.
120 personnes qu'ils ont encore pas eu leur nouvelle. Vraiment.
Mais quand même, les pirogues continuent toujours à partir?
Oui, les pirogues continuent toujours à partir. Il y a des pirogues qui sont encore vraiment en préparation. Mais nous, vraiment, c'est triste quoi.
The people leaving know they may die. They know people who have died. They know people who didn't succeed and who saw people dying, who were coming back to the village saying so. When you talk to the mothers, they know that they may have their son dying, but they still do it, and it might be considered as irrational actually, and it's quite difficult to work or to dissuade people. And the only way is not to talk about only the negative aspects, but to come with positive approaches of and then promoting legal migration and saying migrating you can, but don't do it that way, because there you will die.
These women have formed an association to raise funds by making and selling couscous. The husband or son of each one has died through illegal migration, and so they've all lost their main source of family income. Yaya Diouf, who formed the association, told us how she'd heard about the death of her son.
J'étais partie avec deux pirogues. Arrivé en haute mer, les gens qui étaient sur l'autre pirogue ont vu la pirogue était mon fils en train de prendre de l'eau. Ils leur ont dit, nous sommes à 1 km des Canaries, arrêtez-vous. Et arrivé aux îles, nous allons venir vous chercher. Donc à le retour, il y a eu une tempête houleuse, ça a cassé la pirogue, ils sont tombés au fond de l'eau.
We asked Yaya how many people were in her association.
375 membres.
375.
Ouais.
Et presque tout le monde a perdu quelqu'un.
Tout le monde a perdu quelqu'un.
Et vous êtes juste du village?
Du village même.
This village used to survive on the income from fishing, and it was the men who went to sea. Now that so many young men have been lost, the future of the entire community is under threat. The incentive of incomes in Europe 10 to 50 times those available here is impossible to ignore. Those trying to manage the problem in Africa fear it could get dramatically worse.
If the word spread in all Western Africa or even Central Africa, that actually they can all go to Spain, wherever, the Canary Islands or whatever, you may empty Africa easily. So that's dangerous. So you have also to think about emptying a country of its youth, which should be the future of a country.
Je vais rester. Tant que j'ai la vie, je vais rester pour ma famille. C'est pas pour moi, parce que moi,